audio check. I can hear you well. Can you hear me well?
What did you say?
I can hear you well. Can you hear me well?
What did you say? No, I can hear you perfectly.
You got me again.
Twice, Vanessa.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Industry Shift. I'm so excited to be talking with colleagues from across industries about how things are moving and shifting and how they're really thriving and pivoting forward. So I'm so excited to welcome CEO and founder of the PPI Group, Mr. Bill Panoff, to the panel. It's not really a panel, it's just you and me, but I've been so excited to talk with you. I worked virtually with you through your team at PPI last year, and it was so exciting to collaborate and show people Miami, right? Through your lens. So it was so exciting. So thank you for having me.
No, you were terrific. We did a series for Hilton Hotels and pre and post cruise stays, and it was great.
Yeah, I feel like it's so interesting that you guys, took that angle, because I've been one of those people, right, that have gone on a cruise and then you've gotten to a destination and go, oh my gosh, I wish I, knew like what to do to go hang out with the locals and do local stuff versus just go, sand and sea and do all the typical touristy stuff. So it was really awesome to be able to show people Miami in that way.
Yeah, no, many people like to do that, especially those that are flying in from the West Coast, and it's a long flight and they want to relax before they hop on the ship the next day. So many of them elect to remain in Florida for several days before or after their cruise, and what better way to do that is at a Hilton.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk to us. First of all, introduce yourself. Let us know, everything about PPI Group, and of course your amazing magazine that is the gateway to all things cruises.
We are the media arm of the cruise industry. We really control all the media relative to what's happening in the industry. We create all the media that lives on board the cruise ships. For example, the magazines that live in all the staterooms on board, the custom publications, the in-stateroom video channel, all that content is produced and updated by our company. We also provide shopping concierges that live on board the ships and advise people where to shop in the various ports of call. Imagine your ship is going to St. Thomas and you're looking for a diamond ring, or you're going to Alaska and you want to buy something indigenous to that region. We have the experts that live on board, so everything we do revolves around the cruise experience.
Awesome. So, Bill, how'd you get into this entire field? Are you obviously you're very passionate about cruising, but how'd you get into it?
I always wanted to work on cruise ships. At the time that I had an interest, there was a TV show called The Love Boat. I don't know if you remember that show.
Yes, of course.
And it kind of fantasized the whole idea of being on a cruise ship, and I wanted to work on board. And at the time I was practicing magic. I was not a professional magician, but I love magic, and I put together an act, and I pitched my act to the cruise lines, and finally one of the cruise lines, after nudging them so much, said, okay, we'll give you a chance. So I got on board and did my magic act and just loved the life on board and loved interacting with different people all the time. And every week you're meeting different guests. So it's kind of like, an opportunity to meet people from all over the world and have them all in this one environment called cruising. And everyone's in a great mood. So I was a magician. And then later on, years later, they promoted me to cruise director because they liked the way I interacted with the guests and I made them feel comfortable. So I lived on board ships for 12 years. And after I got off, I said, what am I going to do? I mean, I don't want to continue working on ships. I want to have a life on land. I want to have a family. So I developed a company that revolved around the cruise industry. And the first publication that we produced for cruising, because at that time there was nothing, there was no magazines to speak about the industry and about the growth of cruising. We developed Porthole Magazine. And that was almost 25 years ago. And today we're still going strong.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's dive into the details, because I know a lot of people, Bill, are really, first of all, cruising is such a big outlet for people. They love it. They look forward to it. It's something they look forward to. My parents just went on their first Alaskan cruise last year. Awesome. They spent 6 months after they booked it, before the cruise, planning it, where to go, the excursions, all of that stuff. So that's obviously one of the big enjoyments about cruising. But obviously the industry is shifting and changing, and it's probably one of the last that's going to be back online. So how do you think the entire cruise industry has been kind of upended, and where do you see it from here in the fall and 2021 next summer? When do you think we're going to start cruising again?
That's the $1 million question. Cruising will
I'm sure you've been asked that about 1,000 times since March.
Cruising will return when the environment on board is 1,000% safe for all the guests, and the cruise lines are working very, very closely with the CDC to make sure that the environment is 100% safe, not only on the ship, but in the ports of call, and to make sure that the cruise guests experience, what cruising once was. It's going to be very different in the future. Social distancing and things of that nature will take place. Temperature checks, things of that nature. New ventilation systems on board to create safer environments for guests. But there's such pent up demand for cruising right now because all the diehard cruisers and those who've always wanted to cruise, they really can't right now in North America. So as a result of that, our magazine has become such a tremendous outlet for cruising. With all this pent up demand, people cannot physically cruise, and the only way they can learn about cruising and enjoy cruising and experience it vicariously is through the pages of Porthole magazine. And the readership has increased. The interest in our publication has just skyrocketed in this dormant time for cruising.
And I know that Porthole magazine definitely now has become a gateway for people to fulfill that itch and kind of learn all about the different destinations, different things to look forward to at each destination until the next time they can cruise.
Sure. The cruise ships will not start again until the environment is 1,000% safe. All the cruise lines are very conscious of that, and they want the consumer to be 1,000% safe when they experience their cruise, not only in the ports, but on board the ship, anything that revolves around the cruise experience. So they're working extremely closely with the CDC. When will the ships return? That's the million-dollar question. They'll return when the demand is there and when the environment is safe for everybody to cruise again. And we're all very, very excited. And this pent-up demand has created even more interest in Porthole magazine, more subscribers. Everyone wants to read about cruising because they can't physically cruise. So we're covering the latest ships, the latest destinations. So people are sailing through Porthole, so to speak, instead of going on the actual ship. This is the next best thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was looking at, and I'm very much in tune to CNBC lately because I feel like if you want anything that's breaking specifically in those industries, cruising, the airlines, it's a great place to get quick information, and they're so on top of it. I saw that both the Carnival Cruise Lines and the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line CEOs were both recently on. They had earnings reports, and they were talking about cruising and how it's going to be a different experience once we are on board again. Do you know of any new safety measures that people can look forward and expect the next time they do cruise?
I think that the environments on board, such as like the live shows in the past, where they had this massive theater with 1,500 people in there, I think they're going to obviously, space out the shows and give people more room. Instead of having someone right next to you, maybe there'll be someone three chairs or 4 chairs down from you. They're very conscious about keeping everyone together in an enclosed environment. And I know that's very challenging to be on board a cruise ship, but there is a lot of open space. And if they time things properly, they can adhere to the CDC guidelines and make it a very safe environment. That's just one example.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Bill, where are you looking forward to cruising when you get the all clear? The first destination that you're going to is?
I've been all over the world, but one place I've never been in, I've always wanted to cruise, is Antarctica. And many of the cruise lines are developing these expedition cruise ships that are going to be going there. Atlas Ocean Voyages is building a new one. Seabourn is building a new one. I've never been to Antarctica, and I can't wait to go.
Now, when are you expecting bookings for Antarctica to even take place? Or are they already out there?
Ironically enough, the demand is so great that the ships are booking up like crazy. They're just waiting to sail. Antarctica is a very hot destination. Alaska, of course, the Caribbean, Europe, the Mediterranean, Australia, New Zealand. And then river cruises is a segment which is extremely popular, to go on a river cruise on Amma or Viking or any of these major river cruises where in every day you're in a different port and you walk off the boat and you're right there in these little quaint cities and you can have coffee with the locals, and it's an amazing experience.
A river cruise through Germany and then also one through Hungary. That's amazing.
Yep, there's cruises on the Rhine. There's cruises on the Danube. They're beautiful because you have scenery going by on either side. The castles and the museums, and there's only 100, 120 people on board, so it's a very small environment and very intimate.
You've answered pretty much all my questions with regards to that. What is Porthole doing, not just to stay afloat, but to shift and thrive in this new normal? Is there anything happening with you guys digitally? Where can people really get their cruise fix right now as it relates to the magazine?
Sure. Well, apart from the magazine, Porthole, which comes out 6 times a year, and it's on the newsstands at Barnes & Noble, and it's available online at porthole.com. It's available in many different areas. Our website, porthole.com, is really the one that's built up dramatically, and the news that we're putting on there is so topical. We refresh our news almost 3 or 4 or 5 times a day. Everybody and anyone wants to know anything about cruising gravitates to porthole.com. We have videos that are updated. I have interviews with the CEOs of the various cruise lines. So it's really the go-to place. Porthole.com is the place. Our video component is growing dramatically. It's not uncommon to see new videos almost every other day on board.
That's awesome. And Bill, where can people stay connected with you? Because obviously now, you know, you're on. I see you doing so much stuff in terms of really connecting with people and interviews back to back. If people want to know more about cruising, more about your journey, how to become a CEO and editor just like you, where can they follow you and stay connected?
Instagram is a good place. Cruise Control BP is one place that you could find me, and I normally answer my the questions I have. Of course, porthole.com. I also have my own personal Instagram, which is Bill Panoff, but Cruise Control BP is the main one, and Porthole Cruise. You'll find me there. You'll find me on video. You also find me on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel called Cruise Control, which is updated quite frequently. So if you reach out to me, chances are I will get back to you, because I live with social media connected to my hip.
Well, I actually just subscribed to your YouTube channel, so I'll definitely be staying, in touch there. I have one twisted question though.
Sure.
I want to know, when is Bill's fashion line coming out? Because you're always, again, so dapper. When can we expect some type of cruise spinoff in terms of clothing for you? Bill-inspired fashion line.
Well, I mean, you dress immaculately as well. Maybe we could do a collaboration together.
We should.
I think that'd be great.
Well, Bill Panoff, thank you so much for staying with us, and
thank you.
I definitely, appreciate you on today. All things cruises, don't forget to follow him at Cruise Control BP, and of course, you can check out the website and all things Porthole magazine, of course, at porthole.com. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Vanessa. Happy sailing.
Yes, and I hope to see you on a cruise soon.
Thank you.
Take care.
Industry Shift with Vanessa James. Subscribe today.